Yeah, so
Let's see.
it's nice. It's nice to see you.
It's also nice to see you, Yuri. How long have we known each other? It's been
I think
3-4 years.
yeah, 3 years since we started. We've been very um, close in everything we've done for the various projects.
For the various projects.
Right.
Put emphasis on that. We have handled so many projects with you, Yuri.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, it's very nice you came here. I really am excited to have a conversation to get to know your perspective on lots of things. And since you are now at the moment, as I understand, you're QA engineer, or let me say automation QA engineer, right?
Yeah. So right now, my current position is I'm an analyst. I'm a lead analyst
Okay.
in QA.
And how long have you been in this field, or like I know you've recently changed your employer, right?
Yeah. So currently, I have a new employer. So he's a big employer in the market. So all over Africa, and it's a big challenge, but it's something that I'm personally excited to tackle. Yeah. So
Is it like a new thing for you, or you just basically keep doing what you've been doing for the last 3 years?
no. So in the tech world, everything keeps on changing. Right now, we have AI. Everybody's looking to AI to do everything. Everybody's scared that AI is going to replace me, but it cannot replace you if you are in the tech industry.
Right.
So the best thing you can do is learn to harness this AI and work with it. And my current position right now, I work a lot with artificial intelligence, but you need to know like the prompts you need to give. You need to know that this is something that learns. It's something that learns from you. So you need to, so you need to know that whatever gives you, that is not the final product. I think that's the key point. So you cannot blame AI for giving you something that doesn't make sense, something that is not correct. But you need to learn how to prompt it. You also need to learn to go through it. So it shouldn't make you lazy as a person. It's very easy for someone in the IT industry to think that okay, I can prompt AI to give me code.
Right.
I can prompt it to give me answers to everything, but you need to learn to go through whatever it gives you.
Right. Basically, you are learning how to use this new tool, right? More efficiently, and you yourself become much more efficient comparing to how it was before. We would spend so much time just trying to do something simple,
Yeah, I remember.
But now we can just automate that.
Yeah, when I was in campus, I remember we used to our go-to tool was Google, and Google used to give you a lot of articles. So it's 1,000,001 articles. You need to filter through them, find the best for you, and just points you to the next clue or points you to the next big answer. But for AI right now, it just gives you what you want. So you don't have to go. You don't have to bounce through 1,000,000 websites to get to what you want. It just gives you what you want. But again, you need to learn that. I think it even tells you when you start using it. Right. So this is not the correct answer.
Yeah.
Like it's what we can give you based on what the AI has learned up until now.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we would spend much more time to just do the research.
Exactly.
The research was a big part of the different challenges that we used to face, that we were facing before. And now basically, if you've been using AI tools, now it's improved in terms of understanding you. So now whatever you type, it can quickly get what you want and does lots of those as you said, bouncing for you. So now you get valuable insight much more faster, and just keep going with your task.
Yeah, that's true. And I think I'm seeing a new field whereby we have a whole team that is specially designed to prompt the AI because, as I've mentioned earlier, it's for a lack of better words, it's garbage in, garbage out. Exactly. So if you don't know how to prompt this guy, this artificial intelligent guy, this person, he will not give you the correct answer. Yeah. So I know of a lady who actually works in this, and I remember I had a professor back in campus who used to tell me that Googling is actually a skill. So you need to know the keywords that you need to give Google to get the correct articles, something that you can actually use in the references and refer to. Because if you actually don't know that, you can have the fastest and the best internet in this world, but it will be useless.
Right, it will be a waste of your time since you'll be just spending on the on the things you don't really understand. Like you would do lots of prompts and querying the wrong thing eventually,
Exactly.
not what you need.
That's correct.
So you say now you have a person who teaches you. You mean in this in the new company, right? Who teaches you how to properly utilize artificial intelligence.
No, she's actually a colleague of mine. So right now we deal with automation of different scenarios, APIs, clients, both app clients, that's Android, and so we deal with a lot of automation. But I think the best thing that I have picked from her so far is she has ever done that. So at one point in her life, she actually dealt with prompting AI. So that's I think that's the that was the best thing I took from her is not everybody can handle that. It is too much power. It's like having a car that has 1,000,001 horsepowers, and it's a stick shift. You don't know how to do that. So you need to know how to handle the power before you can actually harness that power and be like, it's working for me.
So yeah, tell me please how long does it take or it took for you to to get to the point where you are now. Yeah, where did your journey started? And yeah, if you can tell a little bit more about your path to IT. I mean, in terms of was it always quality assurance, or you started somewhere else, trying out some different stacks or domains? Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I think when I actually joined this industry, my goal was to be a front end developer. I actually took a lot of time on React.
Yeah.
And unknowingly, I was working myself towards something that I would love more.
Okay, so you basically started with coding.
Exactly. So
Okay.
you need to. So I actually worked with that back in campus. When I graduated, I was still working with this. So it's a framework. You work with JavaScript and everything. When I say everything, I actually mean everything because you cannot know too much of JavaScript. You cannot know too much of Python or too much of any coding language because this is a field that keeps on evolving. So I started with it. At first, it was a bit complicated because you start with the basics and everything. You do your assignments, give it to the lecturer. You get your results and everything. You start learning what is OOP, so object-oriented programming. It was a bit difficult for me. But when you are done with that and you graduate and you are actually in the market, that is when you get to learn a lot of different things. I think for me, the biggest topic or the biggest lesson that I've learned is person-to-person communication comes before everything. So what do I mean by this? I mean that you can know all the JavaScript in this world, but you cannot communicate to the product owner.
Okay.
So what that means is you will work for 3, 4, 5 weeks working on something, and it's totally different from what the product owner delivered from the client. So what I would tell everybody out there is before you venture into any IT field, you need to be flexible. You need to be agile. That's the perfect word. You need to be agile, and you need to know that what I receive from maybe you as my project manager, or maybe from another different person who's coordinating direct with the client, who's the product owner, is you need to understand. So the skills are efficient, but communication and understanding what you are meant to do is much more important than everything else.
Mm-hmm. So your first project was a project for you as a as a software engineer, or your first commercial project was for you as QA?
So the first project is we actually handled it with you, Yuri. So the first project I ever faced, I think it was a mammoth of a task. It was
Right.
it was actually migration from a legacy system to an NGI system. So from a legacy system that is, when I say legacy, I mean something that used to work before, but right now it is almost obsolete.
Right.
So you need to evolve with the world. So my biggest task was, so we have this system, it is working right now.
Okay.
So it is not scalable. So the company is actually projecting for higher numbers, bigger customers, bigger transactions and everything, more countries, not only Kenya, Tanzania. We want to go all over the world. And the biggest challenge for us right now is with the system that we have, we cannot do that.
Right.
So we need to find a system that is actually scalable.
Okay.
So I think that was my biggest challenge, and I actually thank God that I was able to be a part of that, because I met people who are intellects in the field of IT. I met a lady, she's called Oksana. She's very good at what she does, and she was not ready to wait for you. So you need to scale up. You need to be at her level, because if this lady is handling she's handling a lot of tasks every day.
Right.
And you as QA, you need to be at par with her. So if you are not, it's sorry, but it's not good for you.
Right.
If it's not good for you, it's not good for the company, it's not good for your employer. So I would think that so far the biggest challenge that I've handled is migration from a legacy system to a new system, and I can comfortably see that that has built me to what I am right now.
You've been in which field before we started all this legacy migration thing?
Yeah, so I think for me is I'm fortunate enough to say that I have only been in IT.
Okay.
So when I started this journey, I was purely focused on IT,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
I did not have, in my mind I did not have another option.
All right.
So for me, I knew that my passion is in IT.
Right.
I actually want to understand what goes on behind the curtains. When you actually log into maybe a website, or you do a query or something, for me, I actually wanted to know what happens. So where does this data go? So for me as Chrispus, when I create an account somewhere and I come back 5 years later or 2 or 3 years later,
Right.
so I actually have my data. So for me, I would say that that was intriguing for me. And when I started this journey, I totally knew that this is what I love to do, and
Right.
this is what I want to know what happens. And I actually met some very good people in the field who actually knowingly, unknowingly, through the documentation, the APIs, I actually learned what happens. So for me, I would say it was something that was clear from the go.
Right. For me, I can tell you my own experience. Like when I remember when I started learning about IT, and also I tried myself in quality assurance. I've been doing manual testing. I've been using some of different devices. I realized that since everything is evolving, right? There's each and every new month there's some new iOS is coming, some new versions of OSs. They come in for different libraries. They usually update once in a while, and also the devices you test on this device and then you test on some other device. You can test. You think it's enough to test just using some iOS device, right? But eventually you say, okay, if this device has a larger screen, then maybe this feature would not function properly, so you need to test on some smaller screen, on bigger screen, and stuff like this. So I remember this was very exciting to me. I realized how many actually moving parts we have in terms of how important is the job of QA. And also once you establish some a very good infrastructure, so you can actually keep things up to date and keep things from systems from errors and stuff like this, easy. But if you have a little chaos, and then you would notice, like, okay, you forgot about this screen size, or this application, how it would work with this one and stuff like this. So eventually you'll find that so many systems actually are not properly tested. You would use some application out there, like on your device, and you realize, okay, on my device there is an issue, but on the other devices it works perfectly fine. So I remember this was a very great understanding for me, and insight in terms of how this whole thing works and why this job is so important, and people are willing to pay, um, you know yeah, to keep things running, to keep things up to date and stuff like this. If you don't know if you don't see all those moving parts, then yeah, there is a risk that something can be broken. Eventually the user experience will be affected and stuff like this. Yeah, this was very exciting.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's one of the core things that a beginner needs to learn.
Right.
Yeah. So your work is not to give an assurance, 100% assurance that everything will work as expected. The best example for this is you might release maybe a website. So right now, websites run on. Let me just give a few examples. When you go to smartphones, we have different sizes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right now, a website can run on a TV. So maybe it's an Android TV.
Right.
So those are different screen sizes, 55, 65, 75.
Right.
Needs to run on that. And it also needs to run on a smartwatch.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can miss this out, actually.
You can actually miss this out, and it's perfectly acceptable. So for you is you might release maybe a client, it's a web client, and you release that client today. It's supposed to serve the entire world. And tomorrow someone comes up with a screen that is maybe very big or very large.
Right.
You've never handled that. Or someone comes up with a screen that is very, very, very small. So you've never handled that.
Right.
And it is acceptable. So for me, what I would say is your work is not to give the client or maybe the customer an assurance that it's smooth sailing from here. So once we release, it is smooth sailing. No. Your work is to give them assurance that it is going to work. So it is going to work on what I have tested so far.
Yep.
And the biggest concern for the customer is you will not have any downtime. So for maybe any consumer out there is you will not have any downtime. We will have hiccups. That is something that happens everywhere. Look at the
What we call cosmetic issues, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's very good. So we will have cosmetic issues. We will have a button that is on top of another button. That's okay.
Maybe, but it's not affecting your main what do we call it? Happy path or
Exactly.
the way
So,
that feature should deliver eventually.
Yeah. So maybe if maybe it's an e-commerce website, you will still get to pick an item, put it in your cart, check out, pay, and that's all. But I cannot tell you that if I go through all the categories of the of your e-commerce website, so if I go pick an electronics item, pick everything, that for every possible scenario it will work. I think if that was possible, the tech industry will not grow because it will be a one-time thing. So we have given you everything that you need.
Right.
Yeah, so you will not need us anymore. I think that is why every tech company out there seeks to grow in terms of the team. You need to look for a team that can deliver and you exactly and yeah, and you also need to understand that as much as this team is delivering, it is not carved on maybe stone.
Exactly. You need to also go to make some sacrifices if you want to deliver, right, to some value to the customer. Of course, those cosmetic things can be fixed on some subsequent releases, right? But yeah, in order for us to deliver in time, I remember when we had such a rapid development, when we had multiple systems that should communicate with each other, and eventually the businesses, we all build a consolidated plan which we all follow to, and then 1-2 minor things should not block the whole pipeline from moving forward, the whole work stream. So yeah, of course I agree. So that we can ignore and postpone some of those things for some later releases. But as you said, the core feature should work as it is expected, and yeah, and who can give us some trust. I think this is where QA comes in and say, yeah,
I
yes,
think
guys.
I think that's true because as a QA you should expect three things from whatever you bring up. So the first answer is that's a feature.
Right.
So that's a feature. So it is expected to work as it should do. It is working as expected. So just cancel that ticket. Whatever test that you did, that is the expected outcome.
Right.
I think that's a nightmare for most of the QAs. The other thing is it is a bug,
Right.
but it is not. We cannot put it in the current sprint. So it's a bug, but it's a low priority bug. For example, if let's say if we have a company and its name is Chainsaw,
Right.
so if the logo goes Chain SA, so the W is cropped off.
Right.
It is cropped off, so we can decide that okay, we are due for a release today, and the dev team cannot take that. So let's go with it as it is. So maybe it's one page that is wrong. All the other pages are okay. So let's just go with it as it is. And the other answer that a QA member can receive is it's a critical issue. So a critical issue. Exactly. So a critical issue means that everything needs to stop. So we need to fix this before we can continue. So we take it to the current sprint. This is a critical issue, and I think the best example for this in the textbooks and everywhere you're going to learn is I am unable to log in. So if a user is unable to log in, that means that this is a critical issue and everything needs to stop. For example, if maybe I am, let's say maybe I am a shopper who wants to shop, and my cart is not adding up. Most of these things they might seem like they're small issues, but this is what actually can take down a very big company. So let's say an example: if I, as a consumer, I find out that the checkout cart doesn't add up. So it doesn't do the math correctly. So I pick my items, add to cart, and the final total doesn't tally. Maybe it's a bit off. That is something that can bring down an entire company. You name the company, Amazon, any company. So for you as QA is to think of every scenario that comes to your head. And what happens when I add 2 items to the cart and remove one? Does it still add up? You also need to automate this because again, we say we cannot do enough tests. So that's why maybe some companies run regression tests every morning, every evening. Others do it after every release. So you need to have a script that runs maybe every morning and it does everything. So it just goes to the items, pick an item, do the math. So the math actually does tally. You do the payment, check the account. So this amount reflects, and that is how we know that we have enough confidence in a system.
Yeah, okay. I see now 3 things actually what you are referring to now, and I like them a lot. So the first thing you said about the logo, let's say if it's cropped or anything else like that, I see 2 ways of handling that. So depends on actually on the product. So let's say if the product is facing what I called an external customer, right? Which means it's not like for the employer, right? Because if it's external customer, let's say it's people who just using your product to maybe organize their work, manage some of their tasks daily and stuff like this, that is not an issue. But if it's external customer product, now let's say it's Instagram, right? So you see that in Instagram, some of your profiles or some of your text chat messages, right? They are cropped or some UI thing that would actually piss off a customer or bring some a very great impact on your product. So yeah, of course depends on what value it can deliver, because all those little UI things eventually, if it's external customers, so they are monetized. That's why they do all those A/B testing. If they put logo here, maybe it would confuse people, so they would not be able to close off with their customer journey, or if they put it here, then it would improve the experience so that the customer can go through the whole thing more smoothly and eventually buy an item or sell something, or maybe video call or leave a message and stuff like this. Yeah, exactly. I think it's based on the impact that this can have.
Great. So if maybe I can add on that is you will find out that most companies actually have websites that are meant for the employees. So a website that is meant for an employee will not be that appealing, because I think on average, this is actually something that I read online. So on average, a customer will spend 8 seconds on your site before they decide if they love it.
All right.
So you actually have 8 seconds. So if maybe let's say it's a new e-commerce website, or maybe it's a new social website, maybe it's a new Telegram or WhatsApp or anything. So a customer will actually spend 8 seconds before they decide, I'm not coming back here. So for that, a lot of effort needs to be put, and it actually involves a lot of running parts from the marketing team, who actually decide that, so the new generation doesn't like this color, or the new generation doesn't like this design. And if they actually come with that, it means that we need to come up with a new design.
What they call rebranding or some
Exactly.
UI improvements.
Exactly. So we need to rebrand. So we actually have a button that you just click on, and you go to a different page of the same website. But you might find out that the kids right now, they don't want a website that they don't want a button that you just click on. Maybe they want a button that you click on, and there's some form of animation or anything, and it actually takes you to wherever you want to go. And this gave birth to a lot of new things, like maybe what do we call them? Maybe, the word Yuri. What do we call them?
New things like
No. Like the, oh my goodness, like the emojis.
Oh yeah.
That is how we got emojis.
Right.
Because I don't want to say I love you. I want to actually put an emoji in that. And if as a business you do not grow with that, it means you are dead.
You are left behind.
Exactly. So you don't make money anymore. I think the best example for this would be companies like BlackBerry. So and Kodak. Actually, BlackBerry decided that we cannot do away with the buttons. But the world was like, we don't need buttons anymore. I need a screen. So BlackBerry decided, no, let's just keep the buttons. And we also have companies like Kodak, who decided that no, we cannot digitally store images. So we need to have a film that can actually store these images. So what I'm driving to is it is actually bigger than it looks in every company. It's actually bigger than you see. So whatever decision is made, it actually comes from so many different people that you cannot decide to brush it off. It has come from the marketing department, who have decided that, so the Gen Zs right now don't want this. We need to change it.
Right.
That actually comes as critical.
Right.
It's a critical issue. It's something that warrants a hot fix or a deployment that is not scheduled for.
Right. And when speaking of when you say critical, right? Was it very often when those critical things catch you off guard and it's almost the end of the working day? What did you do? Because I remember we've had such things a lot during our first year working with this all legacy migrations and stuff like this. Yeah, because some people they imagine these things as business as usual. You have your working day, you start at 8 or 9, you leave work at 8 or at 6
5 or 6,
or 7.
and that's it for you.
Yeah. But when it comes something critical.
Yeah, so my experience with that, and it is something that will never change, is you are actually being paid to deliver. So that's the most crucial part. So if you want to be in the tech industry, you are paid to deliver. Right. You never forget that. That is your bread and butter for the day. When you wake up, you are paid to deliver.
So at some point, it doesn't matter that if you come at work at 9 or 10 or 11, as long as you can do your job.
Exactly. So it does not matter. It does not matter. So if maybe I decide today I'm reporting to work at 10 in the morning and I'm leaving at 4 p.m. or 3 p.m. So a good employer will not mind that. So a good employer will not. So the system is running as it should be. Everything is working exactly as it should be. The moving parts, the gears, everything. That's okay. Let him leave.
Right.
But you also need to understand that
someone can call you at 8
exactly,
p.m. and say, hey.
So if something breaks in, let's say maybe something breaks and it's 4 a.m. in the morning,
Right.
you also need to be available. This is not maybe a field that you can. This is not a field that you can dedicate time to specifically. 8 to 5.
Right.
I'm working from 8 to 5, and that's it. It's not something that you need to work with files, maybe approve, reject, or anything. Right. This is something that can change. And the best example for this is you actually need to pay for URLs to work. So I remember there is a time that our subscription actually failed. So
we've had such a lot actually, not just one time.
Yeah, we do. We've actually had a lot of that. So if your subscription fails for a website, maybe it's www.podcast.com.
Yeah.
And you have paid for 3 years, it's very easy for you as a customer to forget that, okay, I've paid for 3 years. But when these 3 years elapse and it's the exact time, date, month, and everything aligns and it actually fails, you actually need the team to step up and fix it. And if you are the type of guy who thinks that, okay, I'm supposed to work from 8 to 5, and if it's a time between, if it's not a time between 8 and 5, don't ask me to work.
Right.
Yeah, so you are actually, you can actually bring down an entire company with that. Right. Because your task is to make sure that the URL works, the URL does not work, and it's most of the times, or all of the times, it happens at 12:01. That's a minute past midnight, and you are asleep, and you're like, okay, I'm sleeping, don't look for me. So you need to actually understand that this is not something that you can. It needs to be a passion. That is what I can say. It needs to be a passion.
Yeah. And I've noticed in my experience, some companies, they like to specify this, and they say, we are more free in terms of the working schedule, the what do they call this, hybrid way of
and remote.
attending remote and stuff like this. But they also say, you work, it's up to you basically, your schedule, whatever, but what we want from you is take care of this, please. Right. Work with the team, you'll be a perfect fit. And then basically you are self-managing, right? You are becoming what do we call it? Self-managed.
That's actually true, because look at every major tech company in this world.
Yeah.
They will actually give you if I can call it a leash that is very long.
Leash.
No, it's a leash, but it's very long. You can move around. You are free to do whatever you do, but still under your contract. It's still under these terms and conditions of service. Right. And they actually do this because I want to believe it's not because that they have to. It is because they know this will serve them best at one point. My best example is doing a migration. We used to do migrations with you, Yuri, and most of the times things will go wrong. That is a fact. So you attempt to do a migration from a legacy system to a new system, and when you log in and you check your calendar, you have maybe a meeting from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Yeah.
But when you look at that meeting, it's not from 9 to 11.
Right.
It is from 9 to 6 in the morning, because everything that can go wrong most probably will go wrong.
Oh yeah, we used to have all those very critical time when we would move lots of data from, as you said, from legacy system to the new system, expecting things to work well. And
they don't.
of course, it would take how much time it would take for us just to cross check a couple of them, right?
I remember before, before we started, before the migration started. So you're supposed to, let's say maybe the calendar says it's from 10 p.m. to 12 p.m.
Right.
But sometimes you'll find that it actually starts at 12 in the morning. It was supposed to start at 10, but it's 12 and it's starting right now. Because I think the biggest challenge is you don't do this often enough to actually learn the nooks and crannies in it. It happens maybe so doesn't happen frequently enough.
Right, and mostly the cases are very unique.
Exactly.
So there's no
the cases
a
are very
chance
unique
to encounter that before in your experience, right?
Exactly. So maybe let's say right now I'm working for an e-commerce company. So we have done this 1,000,001 times. So for us, it's a piece of cake. So we do
Right.
it. Then I move to a different company. Maybe it's a finance company, and
Yeah. Basically, what you're referring to, it's actually very true because what we've been doing is very new in the market. The whole business model was something, connected to IoT devices, connected to operations. Business operations starts at 7 a.m., connected to mobile apps, connected to some coverage that we have on those devices, like that are affected by coverage of the major what do you call them, service providers like telco or the others, right? So we were looking at very complex ecosystem.
yeah, that's true. And there are so many players in this market. Like for you to get one win, and maybe what can I think of? Maybe for you to get a single win, it means 3 microservices are involved. So each and every one of these needs to work. And then we have an external vendor. Maybe we have Safaricom who provides the connectivity and everything. And then most importantly, we have the end user who can click on the wrong button or enter the wrong data. So
Right.
yeah, so in this field, you actually cannot get a win. I can comfortably say that. What you get is you get a reprieve for a moment. You get to relax for a moment, but you never actually get a win because, as I've mentioned earlier, is everything that can possibly go wrong will eventually go wrong. It doesn't matter how experienced you are. You've been in this industry for 20 years.
Right.
You are a guru in this. Maybe you are a guru in DevOps. The delivery pipeline is okay. You've done it 1,000,001 times. But there will come a time when maybe something becomes deprecated. Maybe you've used a function in your code.
Right.
And maybe right now you're working with ES8. Maybe ES9 comes out and they decide, okay, this function doesn't work good for us. Let's deprecate this. So you get a warning, everything works okay. Get a warning for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And in the 4th month, they decide, okay, enough warnings, we are cutting this off.
Right.
And maybe you are on vacation, you are in Diani or Tanzania, you're just chilling in the beach. Right. And you're just relaxing and you are called and you are told, okay, payments are not going through. So if payments are not going through, it means the business is not making any money. So you cannot tell them that I am on vacation. And it does not matter. Someone might argue that, okay, let's have 10 people who can do this. You might have 10 people who can do this, but all of those 10 people will be caught off guard.
Right.
And that is true.
Well, this is very interesting because eventually something makes you stand out from those 10, and for some reasons some company decides to hire you. Yeah. which means now what is important, you know. I think this is what we were talking about, when you can, you know, no excuses,
Exactly.
you
No
show up,
excuses.
right? Share your thoughts, your experience. I mean,
So my
what made you stand out, and or let's say, what made you feel confident?
in this, so I think the best answer for that would be you need to be up to date. Because if maybe we look at Facebook when it started, things were very easy. It was just a vanilla JavaScript, very basic. HTML, very basic. And then someone just had to come up with React. And someone had to come up with a different framework. And to make things worse, the consumers had to love this. So I am a consumer. You know, when I log in into, let's say I log in into Instagram, I don't care what happens. That is their problem. But I want a very good experience. If maybe a new trend comes along, I'm expecting that trend starts today, and 2 minutes later, that trend is on Instagram. Or that trend is on TikTok, or that trend maybe is in that online banking system. So I think the biggest challenge, and it is the thing that will keep the tech industry going on. Never mind about AI. AI will never replace anybody in the tech industry. That's a fact, because if you look for a user, and everybody's talking about ChatGPT, but very few people know how to use it.
I agree.
Very few people know how to use this.
People use it mostly like Google.
Exactly. So just use it as Google. Oh, when was Chris Brown born, or who's married to who? It will give you a very good answer. But when you actually prompt this AI to give you a definitive answer to something, maybe you are trying to run a regression test, and it tells you that, gives you a very complicated answer. Nobody knows the answers to these things. I can tell you that for a fact. Nobody does. So if you are a very good user of ChatGPT, or if you are a very good Google person, I'll never say this enough. Googling is a skill. You will actually Google this error as it is. You will not get an answer. You will never get an answer. Rarely you get a definitive answer that just do this and it will work. You get ChatGPT will tell you that, okay, so these are the possible causes, this and this. Maybe your node modules are not up to date. Your version is not up to date, and this. And if you give a normal user that, they will give up. That's why, for example, in Kenya, we have a lot of people making money from very easy things like filing taxes.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
they can do it for you.
They will do it for you. It is not difficult, but they will do it for you, because as an end user, you don't want to go through the trouble to learn how I can file my taxes. But they will do it for you. They will charge you maybe 50 cents. That's a USD.
You can say, Bob, how many? 200 Bob?
Yeah, like 200 Bob, and they do it for you, and you pay them. That is because you are an end user, and that is what makes money for most tech companies. You are lazy. You know, when the final consumer is lazy, it means it gives you a market.
Yeah. What are the chances for you to apply, and how difficult would that be? How many months it would take for you to get your first job?
You cannot just wake up today in the morning and decide that, oh, I'm going to be a QA. So that is not possible for you. So you need to be invested, because I remember for me, I used to.
Mm-hmm.
I actually used
like
to
reading some, or
exactly. So you need to actually be curious enough. That is the perfect word. You need to be curious enough. So I remember for me, I used to maybe log on into, you go to YouTube and you search maybe for a music song. Yeah. But actually, these big tech companies, they actually have some curious buttons for us. For example, I think YouTube has something called YouTube for Geeks or something.
Okay.
So when you actually click on that button, I am sure like 99% of people don't do. But when you actually click on that button, it will show you your traffic speed, to show you a lot of things.
Yeah.
So you need actually to want to learn. That is why there is no university in this world that will tell you that we will make you a QA. And I can say this: we will make you a developer. There is no industry, because what they do is they just give you the basics. They don't teach you JavaScript. They don't teach you Python. They just teach you OOP. So it's object-oriented programming. And you will graduate and you will go to the industry. Chest is puffed out and you're like, I am ready for this industry. But you are not ready for that industry.
Right.
Because what they actually gave you is the basics. I usually tell people that
They feed you with some theory, but you need to have a hands-on experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
To
what
make
they
things
do,
work eventually. Yeah.
yeah. So what they do is they actually they send you out to the world, to the market, and if you are not smart enough, you will think that, oh, come on, I graduated first class honors. I am very good at what I do. I am very good at JavaScript. But if you maybe log into a website like Code Ninjas and you're starting at kata rank 1, and it's a very basic challenge, and you cannot handle it.
Yeah.
So what I can tell people is, and the sad truth about the tech industry is, you will never be perfect.
You always need to seek for more.
Exactly. So, for example, right now, we have things that are trending in this market. We have smartphones, fixed dimensions, this inches by this inches. And then Samsung had to bring a fold phone.
Right.
So that means for you as a developer, it needs to work when you unfold it, when you fold it, there's a very small screen at the back. It also needs to work. And for this, the world is not kind enough for the tech industry.
Of course.
It is not. It is very brutal for the tech industry. But the good thing is, it pays good enough.
Okay.
And once you find a space in the market and you are able to fit yourself in that space in the market.
How much money you can expect to have?
So for me, I would say, if you are curious enough, as I started by mentioning, if you are actually curious enough and you want to know, you know how to inspect pages, the traffic, you can actually inspect the traffic. You actually can read the requirements, understand them.
Right.
So the minimum that a good company will offer you is 70,000 Kenyan shillings a month.
Okay.
And it's not just 70,000, it's 70,000 plus health insurance and things like that.
Plus very good experience, of course, if you get into a...
No. We are starting. So you are just a beginner in this industry. So you went for the interview. The basic questions are, what is an API? You give a correct answer. Things like that. What is JSON? You give a correct answer.
Right.
So a good company will give you a minimum of 70,000. If you are not good enough, like, maybe you got an offer, you are not prepared enough for that, I will tell you, maybe accept something like 50,000.
Okay.
Accept that. And when you accept that, you are accepting that under conditions that you are going to train me. You are going to make me good in this field.
Right.
Yeah, that's perfectly understandable. But 50 to 70, I would say that's good for you. If somebody offers you 20, 30, I don't know what I can say. If you're desperate enough, take it. If you believe in yourself enough, don't take it. And most of the times, this hiring people, so talent acquisition, in most companies, you'll actually find that in their KPIs, they have a KPI that states you need to save money for this company.
Save money.
Yeah. So maybe you are exactly. So maybe you are doing talent acquisition I don't want to mention a company that any company, you're doing talent acquisition for this company, and in the talent acquisition team.
You mean like a human resources?
Exactly.
Right.
So they'll tell you you need to save money for the company. So for you, your work is to press that new employee as much as you can, make them accept the least offer.
Right.
And at the end of the year, these people, they sit down in the table like this and they decide, okay, so the accepted amount is 70. I was able to convince 10 people to take 30. So I've saved enough money for the company. But as someone who is venturing in the IT world, I really thank God that I have met very good managers who have actually told me that, no, that is not enough for what you do. We are going to ask for more.
So you met such people who
I
gave
have
you
met-
that advice?
I
you would
have
say?
actually met people who have told me that the KPIs that you have and what is expected of you, plus what you're asking for, doesn't add up. So we are going to ask for this amount from talent acquisition. And 99% of the times it actually pays off. And if you are the kind of person who believes that it's the same scenario, maybe you walk into a supermarket and you go to buy diapers and you find that maybe the diapers go for 999 shillings. Those people have that amount set up.
Right.
It is 999. It is not 998. It is not 1,000. So if you are actually starting in the tech industry, and you believe in yourself as a person that I am actually worth this amount, and you have gone through the interviews, and what most people don't actually know is these interviews are not a walk in the park. Maybe we're supposed to interview 100 people and we shortlist 10 people. We're supposed to hire 8 people. We have shortlisted 10. So that means you actually hold the higher ground as someone who's being employed. You don't settle for I remember I actually got a new position a month ago, and the talent acquisition team told me, so how much are you asking for? And I told them, and they told me that no, that is too much.
Okay.
But I had gone through what is expected of me. So I'm supposed to automate APIs. I'm supposed to maybe automate web clients, mobile clients. And you also look at what I'm automating is maybe I'm dealing with a customer base of 1 million people.
Right.
And
so the impact is actually matters as well, right?
It actually does. So maybe you
so it's not like a startup, right, where people don't have money.
No. I think the biggest difference is, are you working for a company that is actually struggling to look for money, or are you working for a company that is actually making money? So what I would tell people is this: never walk into an IT interview when you don't have enough information. That will make you look stupid. So what you need to know is you need to be really good at what you do. And if you look at most IT companies, they don't just give you, I think it's all IT companies, they don't give you one interview. They give you like 4 interviews. So the first interview is to shortlist you. Here is the people you have shortlisted. And then that is basically HR. So how do you handle conflicts in the office? Things like that. You also need to be good at that. You need to answer them correctly. So how do you handle conflicts in the office? And when you go past that, then you are handed over to the technical team, and the technical team will actually know that I want to hire Yuri. Right. So the IT manager will know. Maybe the lead dev team or the lead DevOps person will know I want to hire Yuri. And what will make them know that I want to hire Yuri is they will actually give you a technical interview.
But I still think if this is your first job, right? I think it's okay even if you get less, because the first job is basically employer is investing in you.
But
right?
but what you need to understand is what you are actually doing is you are selling a skill, and the tech industry is scary to most people.
Scary.
Yeah, it is scary to most people. And when I say this, I don't want to say that I am maybe a guru in the tech industry. You can only be a guru in a particular section of the tech industry.
Right.
Because if Einstein is born again today, and Einstein is a genius and everything, you cannot handle everything in the tech industry. And I think the biggest mistake that people make is they decide that I want to be a full stack developer. That's actually scary, even for me, because being a full stack developer means that you can actually handle a system from end to end. You can actually create the UI. You can actually create the APIs. You can actually handle data entry in the backend, AWS, and everything. And if you scroll through the job applications right now, I am sure we have. If you go to LinkedIn right now and you look for a tech job, we actually have a lot of them, but very few of them will look for a full stack developer. And if a company looks for a full stack developer, that's actually a red flag, because it means they expect you to do everything, which is for me. I'm generally new in this field, 5 years of experience, but if a company asks you to do everything, that means that's not a good employer. That's an employer who will be happy when they look at your CV and they find that you've written that you work well under pressure. A good employer will not be happy about that, because they will not give you pressure, because everything works. Like it's a system. It's a couple of pulleys and gears that are working together to achieve something. So working well under pressure should not be in your CV. That's I have a friend of mine who we joke and we say that we pick cotton, but that's literally like picking cotton, because working well under pressure, that is not good for you, because if you give an employer that, they will always put you under pressure, and it means they will always expect you to deliver.
Right.
So just remember the basics. If pressure comes, let it be one of two things. The most ideal situation is something has gone wrong. You will have to accept that pressure if you are in the tech industry. If you are a QA, if you are an automation engineer, if you are a developer, if you are a product owner, maybe Scrum Master, project manager, you need to accept that these situations will come, and they will come, trust me, more often than you think. You need to accept that. Right. But if maybe you think that being able to handle this situation is actually a bonus for you, that's a lie. For example, if you look at most tech industries, or most industries, go to any one of them and look for people who haven't gone for leave for the longest time. It's the tech industry. Look for people who maybe have the most flexible time. It is the tech industry. And that doesn't mean that they don't work. And I think this is another challenge that the world actually needs to consider, because I feel like when we have human relation teams or HR teams, we actually need to have HR teams that handle the tech department specifically, because let's say maybe we have a deployment. I have said this again and I will say it again. Everything that can go wrong will eventually go wrong. That's a fact. Look at any industry. Look at Netflix. They all have downtimes. And when they actually have these downtimes, for a normal person, or maybe if you look at it from the finance side of it, is we are losing money. So this thing needs to be up and running right now, as soon as yesterday. But if you look at it from a technical side of it, is if something works and it suddenly doesn't work, it doesn't mean that it's a bug. It means that maybe something has changed. The infrastructure has changed. If you look at companies like AWS, they try as much as possible to tell you that this is going to change. They will give you all the time in this world. This is going to change. But it's very easy for you to miss it because you're not looking at it right now. Right now, maybe you're working on a new payments gateway, or maybe a new feature, or maybe something else. And it's very easy for you to miss it. Or maybe as I've mentioned before, maybe your subscription is almost ending. So you have a URL, it works. And that URL is accepted everywhere, all over the world, every continent. If you go www.google.com, it is accepted. And maybe you have paid for 7 years.
You can just hire someone to the team if you don't know nothing about the team, right? If you say if the HR team is very distant from the IT department, right, and in your company or enterprise there is an IT department, right? How would they know what kind of person would fit to the team? So I think the proper way is to now you have from IT someone involved in that whole process of hiring, new people to the team. You can just throw people out there because they might not match with a
That's true.
team culture.
Exactly. That's really true, because I think for me the HR team should be purely focused on how do you affect the existing team.
Right.
Let's say maybe when I get mad, I throw tantrums and I tell everybody, don't look for me. I'm handling a microservice and I tell everybody, don't look for me. If it goes down, don't look for me. I think that is what the HR team should specifically handle. So we have an existing team. How do you affect them? Do you boost them? Do you bring them down?
Right.
That is purely what the HR team should be concerned about. And it's sad to say that in the interviews that I've done in organizations that I have actually worked for, the HR team wants to be more involved than that. But maybe if you are in HR and you are watching this, so just if you're working with anybody from the tech industry and they have made it through the interviews and everything, just know that just be concerned about how do they affect the existing team? Do they boost them? Do they bring them down? And do I pay them on time? That's another very good point. Do I pay them on time? And if you actually get involved more than that, I know very many people will be against this, but it is the truth. If you actually get more involved than that, it depends on the IT manager. So as an IT manager, as maybe a regional head of development or something, so do I shield my people against this? Because if I am very sure that if right now we have a problem and we need to do a hotfix, and email threads are going around, bouncing around from this head of development to this maybe to this manager in IT, this project manager, this scrum master, and everybody, the HR team will be missed because that is a state of emergency. Payments are not going through. Payments need to go through. It's at Sunday afternoon. So Yuri is being called. Chrispus is being called. This person is being called. And we look at it maybe from Sunday afternoon to Monday in the morning. Maybe it's 6 a.m. and we are done. So you don't expect Chrispus to work from Sunday afternoon to 6 in the morning and still show up at work 8 in the morning. So that doesn't make sense.
Of course, if you do, then you need to expect for the fair.
Definitely, you are being compensated,
right?
But if you look at it from and I really try to understand them, but if you look at it from an HR perspective is, why did you not show up for work on Monday? That is the question that they'll ask you. And
even though you've been working the whole Sunday.
You've been working the whole Sunday. They don't know. So it doesn't matter to them. So you didn't show up to work on Monday. So then they do not know that you've been working for, probably, if you actually choose to do this, that's why you see a lot of memes flying around in the internet and everywhere. So you are in the tech industry, you don't have a life. You are in the tech industry, you look 60, but you're 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
yeah. Your hair is gray like
exactly.
mine.
You have gray hair, and you've been working in this industry for 5 years. But what I can actually urge people is, if you want to venture into this industry, it can either break you or make you. So it depends on the people you work with. It can either break you,
right,
or make you. So it can either make you work from Monday to Monday with no fruits. That is perfectly possible. And it can make you work from Monday to Monday, and sometimes when you have nothing to do, just decide, okay, let me just log in and see the fruits of my labor. So let me just log in into production and see what's going on. And that is good for you. So as much as we look at the pay that we are getting, we
you also want to see the impact of the work you've been doing.
Yeah, and also and also the people you are working with.
Right.
The people you are working with. I really thank God a lot, because the first team I actually got to work with is, I remember ever since I've been in existence, I've never missed a Christmas holiday without going up country to be with my family and friends. Until it got to a point where my manager told me that, so this is what's going on. This is what will go on. You are not going home for Christmas.
What?
And under normal circumstances, I would tell them that, oh, I've been in existence for 20 plus years. I must go home. I've been home every year. But when I actually looked at this person, I actually asked them a very simple question. Are you going home for Christmas? And they told me that, no, I'm not going home for Christmas. And I told them, if you are not going home for Christmas because we have a system that needs to be up and running, and it is not up and running, I will also not go home for Christmas. And they told me that's okay. And that's a very good manager. That's a very good IT person to work with. But in the IT industry, as I've mentioned, we will never have enough IT people in this industry. We will never. That's why we have countries like India outsourcing. We have countries like Russia outsourcing. We have countries like Ukraine outsourcing. We have countries like Kenya right now. I'm very proud of that. Kenya outsourcing
Right.
IT skills to the rest of the world. But we have countries that they are not ready to outsource. They are ready to employ, because it is not easy. It will never be easy. And I think, as I've mentioned before, you will never know everything in IT. Forget about the movies. The movies will show you someone who can maybe hack a bank in 5 minutes, but that is not possible unless maybe you are involved in the process of creating that system, and maybe you saw a gap and decided that, okay, I'll not fix this gap. I'll use it before, or I'll use it after.
You become an insider.
Exactly. So in the tech industry, you will never be a tech guru unless you actually pick a field that suits you.
Like very narrow.
Very narrow, tunnel vision. So this is what I'm focusing on.
Right.
Maybe I'm focusing on AWS. I want to be a very good AWS guy. I want to be an architect in this AWS field. I want to design everything, the lambdas, everything, the tables and everything. But you cannot be someone who decides that, okay, so I'm going to create an Android app. I'm going to create an iOS app.
The whole thing from scratch.
Exactly. So
from A to Z.
Exactly. So you will never be good enough. And I don't. You can be good enough, but one lifetime is not enough for you to be able to do that.
What they call one-man army.
Exactly.
Right.
Like one lifetime is not enough for you to actually do that.
Yeah.
So you just need to look for something that, number one, you love doing, because if you don't love doing it, we have said that you'll be called on a Sunday afternoon or a Friday evening, and so if you don't actually look at this system as your joy and pride, that
Right.
like
And
I
of
am a
course
part of this system. So
and your compensation, right, is the measure of I like to think so, like how much money you make, it's the level of your, I mean, it's nice when you think that way, is the level of your skills.
yeah, that's true. But
Right. So let's say once you've been working for 5 years in this narrowed, you've been doing like automation, you've been doing QAs, but very maybe diverse, or maybe just focusing on e-commerce, for example, right?
yeah,
Yeah. What kind of opportunities you may have after you've got this hands-on experience as the QA uh, as QA engineer, and if you can compare, what if you know some skills in coding and if you don't know any skills in coding, because as I understand, you can grow as a QA without any coding, right?
yeah, but you can only do that to up to a certain level. Yeah, so if you actually want to be a manual tester, you can do that for you can only do that for long enough before your career starts to stall. Because if you ask me, if you don't want to code and you want to be a manual tester, you need to have your sights on something different. Maybe after 2 years, I want to be a project manager. Maybe after 3 years, I want to be a product owner. Maybe.
What if you become a QA lead for the very big QA team?
Yeah, that's possible.
Right.
That's possible. That's also possible. You can be a QA lead for a very big team, and you only handle manual testing.
And how much money you can make?
If you are a lead, you can make a lot of money. Let me say that.
Tell me how much. I mean, some range. Let's say if the person is like 6 years, 7 years experience, because I know when you don't have experience, right? Or let me say this: what if you have 2 years experience?
So with 2 years experience in manual testing, I'd say maybe 100. That's good for you. And the problem with this is, if you stick to manual testing, everybody has an end goal for someone. So maybe you want to be a manager one day. You want to be a project manager. You want to be a scrum master. Talk to all the scrum masters that
you want to be some big boss.
Exactly. That's good for you. But the problem is, a lot of people are actually doing that, because if you maybe want to venture into automation and maybe coding and programming, it's a bit complex, and it is never easy for anybody. So ask anybody. It is never easy for them. If you Google right now how many times Elon Musk tried to land a rocket, it's a lot of times.
Right.
That's a lot of times. But that is what sets the two groups apart. What I can tell people is, if you build a skill in IT and you really focus on that skill in IT, whatever it is, just try and make it. Just choose a skill that is not readily available to everyone.
Okay.
No, not readily available in the sense that not everybody can get it, but people mostly fear off from it. So that's too hard for me.
Okay.
So if you pick that topic that people say that is too hard for me, what I can promise you is, one thing, it pays enough, and another thing, it gives you a lot of flexibility. So you get a hybrid and remote work opportunities, but it also comes with a catch. So the catch is, you need to be like a doctor who's on call. So you need to understand that whatever creation that you have made, I like to call them creation. So whatever system that you have created, so that creation of yours, it needs to run every time. So don't be the kind of person who's like, no, it's
Taking
this.
it lightly.
Yeah, don't take it lightly. Just just nurture it, and the business also understands. As much as we say that these corporate people behind closed doors and boardrooms and corporate meetings and everything, they also understand that without IT, this cannot be possible. So they will compensate you enough. Probably not the first time, the first jobs that you get, but if you build the skill enough, and if you actually have something, you have a card in your back pocket, something that you can pull out and put on the table. Okay, so everybody can do, maybe everybody can do Cypress, everybody can do JavaScript, everybody can do Mocha and Chai, maybe. And you just pull out a card and say, okay, everybody can do this. But I can do Gherkins very nice, and you put it on the table. I believe that that will set you apart from the crowd. So
Okay. So you say you basically like isolate some niche on the market that you can basically take care of.
exactly.
And it will increase your chances to get to be more highly paid.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
it's not. I'm trying to avoid that. I mean, it is not about being highly paid. It is about being highly sought after. Yeah. So you need to grow with the market. So the industry will always change. The when the website was first being designed, it was designed for screens with specific dimensions.
Right.
So it is these inches or these pixels by these pixels. But right now you can access everything from the internet, from the phones, the laptops, and everything. And any person who sat down and thought that, okay, so this market is it's changing to more responsive websites. Let me do that. Let me just concentrate on this. I need to make more responsive websites. I need to make websites that I can maybe adapt to different screen sizes. And that person actually concentrated on that and decided that this is what I am going to do. So that person is making a lot of money. And the backend doesn't change a lot, because if you ping an API, it will always give you the same response. But if you are actually a front-end engineer and you get that response, maybe it's a JSON, it has a lot of information. You need to be able to display this number. I'm checking my bank balance. Right. I'm using a laptop. It needs to be the same. Nothing needs to be pushed out of the screen. I don't want to scroll horizontally. For me personally, if I log into a website and I see an horizontal scroll bar, that is it. I am gone. And it's not just me. It's everybody. It's every user. So, as much as you want to venture into this industry, the first thing that you need to know is you will never be good enough. You will never be able to handle everything. So that is the first thing that you need to know. You also need to identify something that you love doing and something that you are either good at naturally or something that you are willing to work towards. So the moment you have those two things, so I want to venture into the tech industry. Okay, that's good. I'm not good with screens. I'm not good with colors. I'm colorblind. Okay, so that's okay. Venture into the backend. Right. Go write code, JavaScript code. Go write Node code in the backend. And the moment you are good with that, and if you have narrowed it enough, you can actually be. Sorry for this. You can actually be good enough for that, and the moment you are good enough for that, just stick to that industry and grow with it, because it will always change.
You've been in this field, let's say, for 5 or more years, right? What kind of salary you can expect?
I think if you are a lead QA engineer, so you've been doing this for a while, I'd say that the minimum amount that you can accept is maybe 150. That's the minimum. And again, it depends on the task. So don't give me 10 microservices,
Right.
20 systems to work with and pay me
Yeah.
150.
So basically, 150 or 200 is a bare minimum.
Yeah, that's the bare minimum.
And then let's say you've got a like very
done-
good experience, and you can expect for more.
Exactly.
How
So
much
if
would that be?
that would be a lot of money.
Like 500,000.
Yeah, most people talk about 500. I'd say if you look for some companies, if you're actually skilled and lucky enough and you land a role in a very big company, they'll pay you millions because, yeah, especially tech companies, they'll pay you millions because they know they're in this industry because you do your work and you do it really good.
What usually inspires you in terms of gives you some different perspective on things? Do you follow some tech podcasts, or maybe you watch some movies, or maybe you are following some of influencers on media?
Yeah, so
Do you have any people who you can get some ideas from?
so the movie thing, I'll say no. There is no movie that will actually inspire me in the tech industry because this is a script. So the movies will show you a few clicks on the keyboard and everything is okay, or a guy who's so good that there's no system they cannot hack. So if I watch them for fun. In the tech industry, I would say that my biggest, what has built me so much is YouTube. YouTube will actually teach you a lot. The school of YouTube will actually teach you a lot. So you can actually build a career from YouTube. I can say that comfortably. So YouTube has actually built me a lot. So I have a few people that actually inspire me from YouTube. So they post videos and things like that. They'll actually go with the trend.
Right.
So this is deprecated. This is what is happening right now. So this is the new acceptable coding, like the skills and so the skills that you should use right now. And yeah, so for me, I'd say that my biggest inspiration is being curious, access to the internet. What I don't like to do is I do not like to consume everything that I see, especially from the movies.
Oh, yeah. You let it go through some filter
Exactly.
before you actually let's say get some attention.
Exactly. So it's never easy. It's never that easy.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody should tell you that it's easy. I started doing this 6 months ago and now I'm making these figures. No. It's never that easy. You lose some battles, you win some battles. Just believe in yourself. Yeah, you cannot win every battle. So the ones that you lose is, it is okay. So I've lost this battle. I will go back, make myself better, and come back.
Right.
The ones that you win, do not bask in the glory. Don't feel that okay. So I have won this. I am very good at this. No. If you bask in the limelight for long enough, you'll be left behind. So you just need to be proactive.
Of course, yeah. You always have a room to improve.
Exactly.
Okay. Right. Nice. About music and about some things you do for fun. Like, I mean, once you you meet. I remember we used to go to some like team buildings and stuff like this. That's one thing. But of course, if the company promotes that kind of culture, right? It's nice. You get to know some people in a different environment, right? But really, we also used to do some informal, meetups, right?
Yeah.
When we would go somewhere and maybe, listen to some music, play some games and stuff like this. Yeah. What do you do lately for fun? Let's say.
Yeah. So I think for me, I cannot have enough screen time. So what I do for fun is when I'm not when I'm actually not building myself, so when I'm not actually looking at a new skill or a new feature or maybe a new framework, maybe or something that is trending in the tech world, I really love watching documentaries. So that's a different way of learning without learning. You know, people assume that learning must be difficult, but I really love watching some documentaries. I'm also a very, very big fan of music. Yeah, so I love music. My biggest genre is EDMs. I'm also starting to love BN right now. Uh, BN, he's a local artist. Yeah, so he's really producing some good music. Yeah, and I think that's me in a nutshell. So when I'm not busy, that is what I do.
Okay. Nice. Any plans for for some future travels? Like, are you planning to go somewhere? Or since you just started a new job, of course you would need to invest some of your time before you can plan some vacation, right?
Yeah, so right now I can actually not afford to go on vacation because
Yeah.
I'm actually learning some new frameworks.
Okay.
It's actually very interesting. I'm learning some uh, new systems, very complicated.
You're basically upskilling yourself.
Exactly. So I'm basically upscaling myself. So it's an African market. It's not something that actually revolves around a single country. It's multiple countries. So that means multiple cultures, multiple languages, multiple adaptations. Like it's a lot of things that I need to learn. But when I'm actually done with that, I actually plan on going on just a retreat somewhere to just cool down and relax. Not the coast. I don't love the coast. It's too hot, too many people. So maybe a camping trip somewhere, a bit of fishing here and there with some friends. Yeah, but it's not anytime soon. At least I can accept that it's not anytime soon. I have a lot of work to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I think yeah, this was very nice. Yeah, I wish you all the best with your new career in your new career path, and I hope to see you soon again. Yeah, all the best to you, and yeah, good luck in upskilling yourself.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I think it's. I know I'll be back again. I know I will. If I'm not back again, probably something bad happened. But I I know I'll be back again. I know I have a very big challenge ahead of me. It's not easy, but the good thing is the first thing is accepting. I have a very big challenge of me, so I have to do some sacrifices here and there. I put in some extra time, but when I'm flowing with the rhythm, when I can actually keep up with the pace of my new organization, I think we can just come back and talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. I want to find you maybe in the course of this coming weeks. We should grab some coffee when you have a lunch break. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So I work around here, so we can actually grab some. You actually owe me some. You owe me some KFC because I
Right.
remember
I
the last
remember. Yeah.
time I couldn't show up because I had a meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah. I will do that. Definitely. Yeah.
yeah. So
Cool.
today.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
Yeah.